I've done my research and I know he's not gonna win in 2024.
I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, so, as you know, Kamala Harris did not win the election.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Now we got some of the funniest and worst predictions from before the election. These people really don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, let's get straight into it.
Did you see the map of the actual country? How many places actually voted red?
No.
It's just a few cities. Even California was mostly red. That's what's crazy. Look at that.
That's interesting.
That's crazy. There's no blue states, just blue cities.
Well then.
We're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, you know, why I was getting the champagne, and I said because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face, and I said, you know, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard. Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to, and the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. And I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye.
So that was Dr. Arlene Unfiltered. Apparently an expert in this whole election stuff, but obviously not. I don't think we're ever going to hear from her ever again after this. Whoa, she actually had 269,000 followers. That's crazy. Anyway, smile wiped off the face of cackling professor who brought champagne to toast Kamala win. She did actually do a follow-up video, so let's check that out. And before you watch it, take a guess on the reason why she said her prediction didn't come true.
So, as you know, Kamala Harris did not win the election. As the numbers stand right now, there were 18 million fewer votes than in 2020. And as I have said all along, you have to have a huge, huge turnout, and it goes to the Dems. And we didn't have it. There is one fundamental thing that you cannot account for when you're using data to predict or project the outcome of an election, is you can't factor in the impact of racism or the existence of racism and misogyny.
So that's the reason, yeah? So she actually believes that the only reason she lost was because everybody who voted for Trump is either a racist or a misogynist, and you can't predict that. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I don't think anyone's buying that one. I think that's actually a narrative that's kind of been worn out by this point.
You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
Okay.
All right. I want to ask the governor.
I just want to know, how many times did this guy practice that line in the mirror and think to himself, yeah, that is the one. The crowd's going to go crazy over that. Honestly, never ever show your face in politics ever again. And to be honest, he's lucky Donald Trump didn't show up. Now, before we go any further, I want to shout out today's video sponsor, which is once again Tige Henley. They are a skincare company, and they are without a doubt the best men's skincare company around. Now, if you're going to get started today, I would recommend you start with the level 1 system, which is this system right here. That will come with all the basics, and it has everything you need. Now, the best part about Tige Henley, every box will also come with an instruction card that will tell you how and when to use each product and how much to use. So it's really simple. And you don't need to take my word for it, because they have over 10,000 5-star reviews on their website from customers from all around the world. So if you click the link down below, as they're sponsoring this video, you will get an amazing deal, okay? You will get 40% off your first skincare system and a free gift. Plus, if you become a member, you will also get 20% off for life. Now, let's be honest, guys. There's nothing worse than bad skin. So if you can change it, why wouldn't you? And guess what? You can change it. So don't wait any longer. Click the link down below to start your skincare journey today.
You can call her Madam President in 19 days. It's okay. You can call her a Madam Vice President. You'll call her Madam President soon. You're just like deliberately being disrespectful.
I've done my research and I know he's not gonna win in 2024. He's a racist. And might I add, grab her by the pussy? Sounds pretty misogynistic to me. Gen X? Checkmate, I'd like to say. You hold nothing over me. Nothing. You're all so weak and pathetic. Gen X, millennials, baby boomers even. I've done my research. Tons of research on Trump, actually. I knew about him before he was even big in 2013. Right before he entered the election, might I add. He was a nobody to you guys, and now you worship him like a god. You guys are so crybabies.
I'm not a Trump fan. I want to win, and if we nominate Trump, we're going to lose. He hasn't won anything since 2016. Mm-hmm. We lost the House in 18. We lost the presidency in 20. We've lost the Senate. We would have won the Senate this time in 22 had it not been for Trump and his nominees in some of our key primary elections. And my guess is we probably would have picked up 10 to 15 seats in the House if it weren't for, his involvement.
All right, guys, I was going to wait a little bit, but it's Monday, and here in Los Angeles, it's just a little after 5 p.m. I didn't think I was going to change my map, but I did, and it benefits Kamala Harris and Walz. They're going to win big. Here, take a look. I'm not backing down from this at all. I wrestled for days over this, but I turned Texas blue. The comments on my past videos, forget TV and whatever, the comments, hundreds and thousands of comments. And people in San Antonio and Houston and Dallas, I turned it blue. And I have her at 396 electoral votes. I'll probably do an update tomorrow, but that's it.
Actually, I want to shout this guy out because I did see a follow-up video that he'd done the next day, and he just straight up was like, yeah, I was wrong. And then he basically said, it doesn't matter, and can we all now come together? So this guy got no issue with him, all right? He made a wrong prediction. It is what it is. He wasn't arrogant. He didn't try to make excuses like Dr. Arlene did. So as far as I'm concerned, he's all good.
Am I going to worry about it? First of all, I'm not going to worry about it, Phil, because he's not going to win.
So you think he's just worn it out? You think people are just going to get fatigued?
Enough. I feel
category fatigue.
I mean, it's just going to be, we're talking about a few 100,000 people perhaps, but I think it's going to be a little closer than that. First of all, she's definitely going to win the popular vote, as Democrats almost always do now. But I think she will win. I think he will, of course, go batshit insane, as he always does. He won't accept it. His followers, I think, I don't think their heart will really be in it, as it was in 2020. Some of them, there's lots of people who will always be in the bunker with Mrs. Goebbels, taking the poison and giving the poison to the children because it's better than living in a world without National Socialism. I make an analogy, but I don't say he's a Nazi. But I think for most people, it's just fatigue. Yes, I think it's time.
The gap between when we repeat the mistake gets shorter and shorter. I mean, Trump was only president 4 years ago, and they seem to have completely have amnesia about what that was like.
Give us a few weeks. You never know. We still don't know if we're going to repeat that mistake.
Oh, we're not. I already put my marker down on
Okay,
that.
good.
Yeah, no.
Then it's a counterexample.
No, I'm not even worried about
That's
it.
good, okay.
You're not even worried about it?
No, not at all.
Really?
Yeah, no. He's definitely going to lose. I hope you're right. You just feel it. You can just feel it.
I hope you're right.
No, I said it weeks ago. And now the polls are even, but the polls will be even on election day. I promise you. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it. I don't think about it. Just don't think about it.
What do you think about it?
And then even if he does win, well, you wouldn't have gone through all that stress.
It's a better way.
Oh boy, I'm not ready for the world. I just came back from the grocery store and I saw a white woman with a Trump bumper sticker on her car, and I told her exactly what I thought of her. I called her a dumb B word. I don't even like that word, but so maybe I should stay home a little while longer because I'm not ready. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing okay.
Trump is the nominee. Mark my words, we will see a President Kamala Harris.
Governor.
Well, first of all, I don't think Donald Trump's going to win the nomination. I think I'm going to win the nomination. And secondly, I think that we have to focus on the fact that anybody is better than a President Kamala Harris. I mean, you look at the socialism creep that Biden and Harris have gotten us into, whether it's the CHIPS Act, whether it's the Inflation Reduction Act, whether you see all of these subsidies that they're green subsidies that they're doing. They're the ones that have left us into a situation where I don't think our kids are going to forgive us for it. And so any person on that stage is better than Kamala Harris, and I'm going to say that all day long, but I think the American people are smart. I don't think Donald Trump's going to be the winner of the primary. I think I'm going to be the winner of the primary, and I think that's why we need a new generational conservative leader, because we've got to leave the past and the negativity behind us, and we've got to start focusing on the real problems at hand and start getting things done.
To a new level. He's also brought blatant racism to a new level. You know, things like, I'm as Greek as Giannis Antetokounmpo, the black Milwaukee Bucks basketball star who was born in Athens of African parents, is a Greek citizen and was the Greek flag bearer at the Paris Olympics. But because he's black, he couldn't possibly be really Greek. I remember, and the keys, because the keys depend upon a rational, pragmatic electorate deciding based on governance whether the incumbent party should get 4 more years. And we've seen the explosion of some trends that have existed before, but not to this extent. Disinformation. You know, Elon Musk is, I don't know how many hundreds of billions he has. He has been the director of misinformation. 2 billion views of his spreading of disinformation, not just about the economy, but about immigrants, about minorities. We've never seen disinformation at this scale. Next, we have never seen to this scale the agitation of 3 trends that have been very deeply embedded in American history: misogyny, racism, and xenophobia. You know, the first anti-immigrant law was 1798, and Donald Trump wants to revive it.
Yeah, this is the guy who's predicted, I think it's like 80% of the last elections correctly, and he uses the different keys as part of his prediction, and now he's saying that the keys were wrong. I don't think the keys were wrong. I think he's biased and he interpreted them wrong. And the fact that he's calling Elon Musk the director of misinformation just proves that this guy's biased. Like, come on, man. Director of misinformation. X is the only place where you can get the actual truth. And everybody knows this now.
Donald Trump will not become president.
He's not going to be president. Donald Trump is not going to be president of the United States. Take it to the bank. Okay. I guarantee it.
All right.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red capes.
On that note, Tom.
Take it from me. How about that?
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
And we better be ready for the fact that he might be leading the Republican ticket next.
I know you don't believe that, but I want to go on.
Sorry to laugh.
Which Republican candidate has the best chance of winning the general election?
Of the declared ones, right now, Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, just last week, he confirmed to the National Review that he is again considering a run in 2016.
Do it.
Do it. Look at me. Do it.
Donald Trump will never, ever be president of the United States.
Donald Trump will never be elected president of the United States.
What I'm trying to tell all Republicans and anybody, independents as well, anybody that's voting in those primaries is, if you want a change in our country, which I think the entire country wants a change, we won't get a change if we don't win an election. Donald Trump will not win the general election. You can have him win any primary you want. He will not win a general election. We will have a female president of the United States. It will either be me or it will be Kamala Harris. But if Donald Trump is the nominee, you can mark my words, he will not win a general election. And what I say to everybody is, don't complain about what happens in a general election if you don't really think about that in this primary. We can do better. You look at, these are the two most disliked politicians in America. Look at the polls. Look at what they're saying. 60% of Americans are saying Donald Trump's too old and Joe Biden's too old to be president. You look at the military. They cap retirement at 65. You look at pilots. They cap retirement at 65. We've got a lot to fix in this country. We need someone who can work 8 years straight of hard work, day and night, fully disciplined, with no drama, no vendettas, just results for the American people. That's what's at stake here, and I'm going to continue to stay in and tell people this as long as I possibly can.
So the trials have nothing to do with your decision, and I would also note that I believe early on in the primary process you raised your hand and said you would support the nominee even if he were a convicted felon.
Well, I don't think the American people would support a convicted felon, but I will tell you, I have a lot of issues with Donald Trump. I have said that. I have no bones about speaking that. I have even more issues with Joe Biden. The key is we don't need either one of them. I think the court cases absolutely hurt Donald Trump. Right now, it may be giving him a shot in the arm, but he has said himself he's going to spend more time in a courtroom than the campaign trail. All of March, all of April, all of May, all of June. When you have that scenario, the chances of anyone winning that Republican nomination, if he is the person, are slim. They are just going to keep going down. $500 million in judgments he's got so far. He's now got to figure out where that money's going to come from. $50 million of campaign contributions from his own campaign have gone towards personal court cases. Now they're trying to get the RNC on board and trying to get me out so that they can continue to help him pay for judgments in court cases. We can't win an election that way. It is literally impossible that we will win an election if Donald Trump is the nominee. So I'm going to keep pushing through. We have a country to save, and I'm going to continue to show people that if I can beat Joe Biden by 18 points, guess what? That's a mandate to stop the wasteful spending, get our country back on track. That's a mandate to get our kids reading again. That's a mandate to secure our borders. That's a mandate for law and order in our cities. And that's a mandate for a strong America that we can all be proud of.
If Donald Trump is the nominee, the election will revolve around all these legal issues, his trials, perhaps convictions if he goes to trial and loses there, and about things like January 6th. We're going to lose if that's the decision that voters are making based on that. We don't.
He's going to lose. It's not even going to be that close, actually. So I know everyone's talking about how close it's going to be, but they're just underrepresenting the women, and they're over-calculating because they've been embarrassed, the pollsters, twice with the underpolling of Donald Trump's supporters. So they've over-calculated for them, and they've underrepresented the amount of women that are voting for the vice president. So, you know, he's going to lose. I think he senses it a little bit. I think you could see in the agitation and a little bit of the desperation of the doubling down on the racism and the misogyny and all the things that he thinks going to attract his base. He's saying things that are mind-boggling. I think the weird thing that's happened, Nick, if you don't mind me saying so, is that the American people give him a pass on everything that he says. But I think what actually blew him up is the MSG rally, because his acolytes do not get that same pass. So when they're calling Puerto Rico a pile of garbage, or they're saying they want to slaughter their Democratic opponents, or somebody like Steve Miller saying America is for Americans, and it's sort of paraphrasing Adolf Hitler, those guys don't get a pass from the American public. And they're like, wait, whoa, Trump is bringing those guys in. They're going to try to out-Trump Trump in the White House. And I think that burst his bubble about eight or so days ago.
We now know where Trump can perform and where he can't perform, what he can and can't do, what his ceiling and floor are as a presidential candidate. And Joe, this is the thing. There's no Republican who's paid attention to his run in 16, his run in 20, and the Republican performance in the midterms around those years that doesn't know what baggage Donald Trump has and what the baggage is, as you just said, that he can't shed. There are voters he'll never get. There are places he'll never be competitive. And there's so many of them now that there's no world in which Donald Trump could, no imaginable world in which Donald Trump could ever win a popular majority in America, in the American electorate. And the narrow needle that he needs to thread in the Electoral College has gotten narrower and narrower to the point where Trump he is a powerhouse within the Republican Party still. And yet on the national level, running, head-to-head presidential contest, a general election, he's getting close to, not unelectable yet, but the deficits he carries into that race are so huge and so well known and specified that if the Republican Party were a rational body with a single mind, there's no world in which he would be the nominee. But that, of course, is not the way our politics work. And there are still tens of millions of people in the Republican Party who don't see this and would vote for Donald Trump to be the nominee and vote for him to be president again. And that's the conundrum that the party faces.
Now, this prediction, it looks like it was from before Biden dropped out. And on the topic of that, there's actually a rumor going around that apparently Biden refused to drop out. And then that tweet you saw when he tweeted saying he's dropping out of the race, apparently that wasn't even him. They'd done that to force him out. So then his revenge, 30 minutes later, was to endorse Kamala Harris straight away, which stopped them from having another candidate, basically. So yeah, he actually outplayed all of them. If it's true, we don't know. It could just be rumors. But anyway, let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.